The President's Cup has come to the West Coast of the United States for the very first time. And as evidenced by this great crowd, your incredible enthusiasm, San Francisco was indeed a worthy choice to host this most prestigious competition. It is an honor to be a part of today's festivities, and I'm sure you join me in anticipation of the start of the competition tomorrow and throughout the weekend. It promises to be another exciting chapter of yet another President's Cup, one that has produced already some incredibly memorable moments. At this time, please join me in welcoming our first speaker of the afternoon, Mr. Rick Janes, the CEO and Commissioner of the Canadian Tour, our host for the 2007 President's Cup in Montreal. Mr. Janes today is representing the International Federation of PGA Tours and is speaking on behalf of the tours represented on the international team. Mr. Janes has the honor of introducing the international team captain, Greg Norman. Mr. Janes.
Thank you, Dan. This really is a great honor to be here on the stage with Mr. President, Mr. Bush, Mr. Mayor. We say Your Highness in Canada. I hope that's the case here in San Francisco. It's also a great honor as a Canadian to be on this stage with some players who started their careers in Canada on both sides of the aisle. On the American side, Steve Stricker is someone we've been very proud of since he played in Canada. On the international side, Tim Clark from South Africa is a wonderful hero in Canada and a great player on our tour. And of course, we're so very proud of our own Mike Weir. It's hard to believe that it was just 2 years ago that we opened these matches at Royal Montreal in Montreal for the 2007 President's Cup. It's equally surprising that this event has grown in such tremendous stature, one of the great sporting events in the world in just 15 years, having started in 1994. I feel very privileged to have watched the growth of the President's Cup to become the exciting and the so impactful event that it is throughout the world. When the President's Cup came to Canada, of course, as Canadians, we were also very, very proud. This was the biggest thing outside of hockey that we'd ever seen. In fact, when Mike Weir and Tiger Woods dueled, that was probably the greatest sporting event outside of hockey that we'd ever seen in Canada, and obviously a great sporting moment in itself. We also, as the Canadian Tour, had the privilege of touring with this magnificent trophy across Canada as it followed our tour on its way to Montreal, and had the opportunity to take the President's Cup trophy and the spirit of this great competition to communities that might not ever have this opportunity, and to people and to charitable functions that might never have had a chance to see this event. I am quite confident that the people here in California, and certainly in San Francisco, share in the enthusiasm that we did in Canada. And I think that it's very special that for the first visit here on the West Coast, that this event is played at Harding Park, truly a great golf course, and one with such wonderful public access. And I think that that really says a lot about this tournament. Today, representing the International Federation of PGA Tours, which embodies all of the major golf tours throughout the world, it's only fitting that I talk about the global impact of this event, the game of golf that it's had around the world. On the international team alone, there are 8 countries represented, including the first ever member of the team from Colombia, Camilo Villegas. Camilo, congratulations, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Buena suerte. I understand the media turnout this week is equally impressive. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic with over 700 journalists from 14 countries, and with the coverage provided by the Golf Channel and by NBC, over 500 million people will see this event in 200 countries around the world. You know, all of this is due in large part to the unselfish commitment of the players and the captains who have committed themselves to compete in this event, and I think we're very thankful for them, for all that they do and all they do for the sport. They've helped this event flourish over the past decade and a half, and their commitment has enabled this event to reach far outside of the ropes, contributing millions of dollars to charity around the world. In fact, Montreal generated $4 million for charity, and I am quite confident that San Francisco will exceed that. I just want to say, for anybody who is involved with golf, for all of us who love the sport as we do, we're all very fortunate to be part of a sport that is such a wonderful foundation for charity, and I do applaud all of the players for what they do here. With all of that said, I have to say it's a great honor to introduce a man that, of course, he doesn't remember, but I certainly remember in 1990 at the Lakes Club in Sydney, Australia, at the Australian Open, watched Greg Norman hit golf balls. And Greg at that time hadn't quite embarked on the international scene, but if I remember correctly, he was winning probably 50% of the tournaments that he played in. So it wasn't long before this man from Queensland, Australia, broke onto the world scene. And of course, since he started his career, he's become one of the most popular figures in golf. He certainly changed the game in a contemporary sense. He's changed the complexion of the game. He is perhaps one of the most charismatic figures in the game of golf, a true sportsman, an athlete before the word athlete was used when we spoke of golfers, and obviously a great champion and a great winner. It is my great honor to be here to introduce him as the captain. But before I do that, I just want to let their competition know what they're in for, because Greg has been there at the President's Cup from the very beginning. In 1994, while he was ill, he couldn't play, but he still qualified for the team, and he was still there supporting the team throughout the competition. He was a great leader in 1996 and, of course, 1998 and 2000, and most notably in 1998, he really was the dominant force in an overwhelming victory by the international team in Australia, and Greg himself posted a 3-1-1 record. And of course, he continues to be a champion at everything he does, and I know by all accounts he is going to be a great champion. He will impart the enthusiasm, the energy, the professionalism, the dedication, and the fun that he brings to everything that he does. There's no doubt that he is here to win, and it is my great pleasure to ask you to help me welcome the great white shark, Greg Norman.
Thank you.